Hello guys and welcome to this glorious video. My name is Bam Havoc and today we're going to be discussing the secrets of Osiris. Well, as most of you guys know, the House of Wolves DLC is almost upon us, and instead of the usual raid with every DLC, we are presented with a brand new PvP competitive challenge known as the Trials of Osiris. A huge amount of flack hit the Destiny developers and Bungie as a whole for the lack of a raid in their House of Wolves DLC. My 10 cents worth in the subject is that it's a challenge, and a challenge is a challenge. Roll up your sleeves and get dirty. You have to be in it to win it, for the sweet kills and even sweeter loot. As stated by Deej, the community manager, and the developers Derek Carroll, the House of Wolves Design Lead, and Lars Bakken, the Crucible Design Lead, during their recent Twitch stream on the Trials of Osiris, it's a 3v3 PvP competitive game mode where the matchmaking is based on your internet connection and not your skill level. It runs every weekend from Friday to the weekly resets on Tuesday. The Trials of Osiris is Destiny's answer to esports. However, only a few games have managed to dominate this multi-million-dollar arena, such as League of Legends, Dota 2, StarCraft 2, along with 4 other Halo titles. They're all in the top 50. Esports is a huge cash cow, and the prizes on offer by the sponsors is simply staggering. This keeps gamers coming back, and it's a brilliant advertising tool for Bungie themselves. So a quick summary on the Trials of Osiris, without going into much further detail on what it is. It's 3v3 team-based combat, build your own team, matchmaking with opponents based on a good internet connection. You need to win matches to earn sweet loot, you need to revive your teammates, power matters, bring your best gear. There'll be launch matches to start off with, but there are new maps to follow, and esports. And by the way, Deej, like the suit jacket. But enough about that, we're all here for the secrets of Osiris. So a little history on the ancient Egyptian gods themselves. Osiris was usually portrayed as a bearded, mummified human with green skin wearing an Atif crown. Now, I'm not too sure on the pronunciation of this, so bear with me. His hands emerged from the mummy wrapping, holding a flail and crook. The oldest religious texts refer to Osiris as the great god of death, life, resurrection, and the afterlife. He once possessed human form and lived on earth as the first pharaoh king. He was a god king who is believed to have given Egypt civilization. Osiris saw the Egyptians were barbarous, cannibalistic, and uncivilized, and he was greatly disturbed. Therefore, he went out among his people and taught them what to eat, the art of agriculture, how to worship the gods, and gave them laws. Ultimately, though, Osiris was brutally murdered by his jealous brother Seth, who wanted his throne. Okay, I hear you asking, what has this got to do with us gamers, and what does this have to do with Destiny? Believe it or not, there are certain parallels that can be drawn between the DLC, specifically the Trials of Osiris, and ancient Egyptian mythology. So keep up now, this is actually where it starts to get interesting. The epic tale of Osiris and Seth is central to ancient Egyptian creation mythology. According to these ancient scripts, Seth grew jealous of Osiris and plotted against the popular ruler, wanting his throne for himself. Seth murdered Osiris and scattered his remains across the deserts of Egypt and usurped Osiris' throne. Isis, Osiris' wife, found his remains and reassembled them. Isis, along with Anubis, bound Osiris in linen cloth and resurrected the deposed ruler. Shortly after this revival, Isis gave birth to Horus. Soon after Horus' birth, Osiris dies once more, and Osiris assumes the responsibilities of Lord of the Underworld from Anubis. Horus sought revenge against Seth for the brutal murder of his father. During one of the epic battles between these two gods, Seth and Horus, Seth gouged out Horus's left eye. Horus ultimately won the battle and banished Seth to the deserts of Egypt for eternity. The god of wisdom, Thoth, or Thoth, again, pronunciations are a bit funky here, restored Osiris' eye after their great battle, and it is believed to have set the phases of the moon, and was also known as the Moon Eye. The Eye of Horus was also seen as the ever-watchful eye. The eye saw everything and protected the world from danger and threatening chaos. Oh, this Egyptology stuff has more plot twists than the Game of Thrones. Gah! Okay, so now we've had a very brief history of Egypt, its ancient mythology, and perhaps learned a thing or two. Here is how it applies to the DLC and the Trials of Osiris. The Eye of Horus is quite prominent throughout the Trials and across all armor types. It stands to reason the Eye of Horus will serve the Guardians of Destiny well, keeping us from harm within the Trials, warding off the darkness, and protecting us from danger and chaos. The Hunter's armor class is known as the Watcher, which is a clever nod to the ever-watchful Eye of Horus. The hood of the hunter's cloak sits similar to those of the ancient pharaohs. There is a blade on the hunter's left forearm wrapped in linen with the hilt and pommel exposed, which looks like a cobra, similar to those worn by Egyptian royalty, which I believe this is a clever nod to Osiris himself, and as we know, Osiris was the first pharaoh king. Further evidence of this pointing to Osiris is that he was mummified with only his head and hands exposed, similar to the hunter's armor. The hunter's armor, I believe, is a clever representation of Osiris himself. The warlock armor class is known as the Exile and bears a remarkable resemblance to a jackal. Anubis, the jackal-headed god, is the ancient Egyptian god of mummification, the dead and the dying. The developers have depicted the helm of the Exile as resembling Anubis, despite it was Anubis' father, Seth, and later brother Horus who were exiled. And I can only assume that the name of the warlock armor class, the Exile, is a silent nod to the ancient god Seth, who was, as we know, Anubis' father. Seth was exiled by Horus to the ancient deserts of Egypt after an epic battle between the two, according to these ancient scripts. The Titan armor class is also known as the Exile, but for very different reasons to the Warlocks. The Titan's armor is strikingly similar to Horus himself. Both the helm of the Exile and Horus share characteristics of falcons, and this has been done rather well by the developers. The name of the armor class, however, the Exile, is different from that of the Warlocks. According to ancient texts of Egyptian mythology, Seth exiled Horus to the deserts of ancient Egypt. This, as well as the murder of his father, Osiris spurred Horus to seek revenge against Seth. Horus, who ultimately won, later exiled Seth to the very deserts Seth exiled Horus. Okay, so now we've got the basic stories about the various gods of ancient Egypt and how they actually suit the various armor classes and types and so on. There are just a few quick side notes, however. The Warlock's armor has a motif on the left shoulder similar to the Titan's helm. The general thinking is that this could be a direct reference to both Anubis and Horus being brothers. But perhaps it's just simply there for design aesthetics and badassery, and you know, this armor set does look pretty badass. An honourable mention has got to go to the auto rifle named the Summoner. This could be a reference to the god of creation, Atum, or Atem. Now, forgive me for the pronunciation of these ancient names. This guy, the Atum god, just simply willed himself into being, and he created the other gods, which we will come back to next time. So right, in conclusion, the Destiny developers have done rather well in depicting these ancient mythological gods, Osiris, Anubis, Horus and Atum, in the new loot designs. There are well thought out nods towards Seth and his story with Horus, which is quite well done. The developers seem to have done their homework on this subject. Well done. This tale of good versus evil and light versus dark was one of the first in recorded history, and it seems fitting that Destiny lift their designs from these mythological tales. As we have been forged from the light to do battle with the darkness, the Trials of Osiris will be the proving ground for many a gamer and the place to test our mettle and become worthy of the name Guardian. Right guys, thank you very much for watching this video. A lot of effort went into researching the various bits and pieces of gods. I learned quite a bit from this, and this is actually the sucky part of the video. We've actually got to ask you to like, comment and subscribe. Preferably comment, because then I get some great feedback. All the links to the various bits and pieces of information if you want to learn a bit more about the ancient Egyptian mythology is in the description below. Again, thank you very much for watching. Like, comment and subscribe if you like it. And yes guys, thank you very, very much. Cheers!